You see the whole screen, which is like the slide share of the Indian Quality Assurance Council?
Yeah, it's enough, sir. No problem.
Okay. So this is the title only. It's not the story. The story is different. This is the story. Vivekananda's one thought can alter your Kundalini. Do you know what is Kundalini? Kundalini is all about what was transcribed when you were born. And people say, call it a destiny, that the destiny cannot be altered. But here is a saint from India who said, you can alter your Kundalini, you can alter your destiny. And what is it that you can alter, and how can you do this? It is with one thought, he said, one thought. And this thought is from Bhagavad Gita, which again is from the ancient Vedas of India. There were 11 Upanishads which were written based on the Vedas, the 4 Vedas. So the 11th Upanishad is, of course, almost extinct, and it's probably said to be the largest amongst all of them. So therefore, the 10 Upanishads are more famous, and they are the written forms of Vedas today, because the Vedas were through verbal or Shruta Gyan, and therefore it did not have any writing form. So the Upanishads were the writing form, and that's how the whole knowledge came through generations of maybe 5,000-10,000 years in India to us, and went around the world. But we'll not talk about the world, we will talk about you. And this is one thought that can alter. So what is it thought? Take up one idea. And the students, I am telling and talking to you as a friend, and that's why I'm wearing this t-shirt, that take up one idea and make that one idea your life. Think of it, dream of it, live on that idea, and let the brain, your muscle, your nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea, and just leave every other idea alone. And this is the way to success. Do you get it? The way to success is not from the outside world. The way to success is from within your own world. And what is the way? This is the way. Pick up one idea and work on it for the lifetime. Now, what could be that idea? I don't know, and you also don't know probably. So, let me start with my story, because I know my story. I don't know your story, but of course I know you have a story to tell, and we will have some time to tell your story. So, I'm founder and president of this new Indian Quality Assurance Council, which is formed under a not-for-profit trust, Brahman. At this moment, I sit on the board of ACBSP, which means Accreditation Council for Business, Schools and Programs, which is a specialized accreditation council in the United States for last 4 decades. And as Professor Chandrasekhar said, we have 1,200 member campuses from over 60 countries. The 61 first country entered recently, and I'm mentoring them, and that's Pakistan. And Pakistan's University of Management and Technology, UMT, they have entered into accreditation, and I am facilitating them as a board member. I also work as Professor Emeritus with FPT University in Vietnam. We'll talk a little about it later. I work with Chandrasekhar as co-chair of Diploma Board with ISTD. And I have signed so many MOUs, but this one it took me 3 years to sign. And this is with International Trade Center, which is an organ of WTO, a World Trade Organization. which is again an organ of United Nations in Geneva. And I had the fortune of visiting them twice, once with my wife, and probably it was my wife who gave her positive vibes, because she was the only one in saris in United Nations, where all others were in Western dresses, all the ladies. So they were amazed and they really appreciated. And they said they were impressed with our Indian ladies' sari dress. And of course, all the discussions we had, United Nations agreed to sign an MOU. So you can imagine what an Indian lady can do in United Nations. And I am proud of both my wife and the United Nations. I serve on the several boards of universities and business schools in India, Europe, and USA. And of course, my work-life philosophy for last 1 year is 80-20. So what is 80-20? 80% free work. So my whole education work or education quality improvement work and the accreditation work is free. And the 20% work is as an advisor to State Bank of India for 35 years about, since 1983, that I am on their panel, and I advise them their projects on the viabilities and funding decisions, ethically and independently and unbiasedly. And that's what is enough for my sustenance for the year, you can say. So if I advise 3, 4, or 5 projects or 6 projects, probably that's more than enough for my sustenance. And that's how I'm able to do this work-life balance philosophy, free work. So everywhere else I work freely and I work free. So the picture here is taken in the United Nations, and you can see so many flags, and that's why I feel proud of this picture, because there are so many countries that we can help really by some or the other contribution. And I'm telling you, students, each one of you can help not just Kerala, not just your parents, not just your organization, not just your business school, not just your teachers. You can help, in fact, the whole world over a period of time. If you develop interest, and if you develop skills, and if you develop desire, and if you develop ability to deliver what it takes. So the story is all about this, but it didn't start here. It started somewhere else. So can you see this next picture?
No, sir. I think your slides are not moving.
Okay. My slides are not coming, so let me go back and is it something?
Now it is coming. Now the Vivekananda's slide is there.
Okay. So let's keep it like this, and I did try to do the slideshow. It didn't work, it's fine. So let's do this. I talked about Vivekananda's take of one idea, so this is the slide. So I'm going to the next one, and I talked about this, and this was the slide. I hope you can see this. My story?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good.
So having finished it, I said, this is not the slide which started with. The story did not start here. Actually, the story started here. And can you see these 2 pictures? Chandrasekhar?
Yeah, very much.
Okay. So the first picture is the picture of South Sudan. This is where I was born in 1964 to an Indian family. The picture is actually at the time when the South Sudan became the newest independent country only a couple of years back. This was a part of Sudan, and when I was born, it was that part, but the South Sudan looks like this even today. So can you imagine where I was born? It was kind of a town called Wow, W-A-U, Wow. So if you see Google map and type Wow, Sudan, it will lead you to where this South Sudan is. Wow has become, is now a part of the second biggest town in South Sudan, and the capital city is called Juba, which was not that big in those days. But Wow was bigger than that, you know. Uh, and the people look like these people, these children, they at that time and even today, a couple of years back, they look the same. You can see this. And there was only one Indian family, and that was my father's family, my family, and I was born there. And my father set up a business there because having come from Gujarat, and you know, business is in our blood. So as you know this. And he set up a business there, and our whole family was there, and I was born there. And I wish to tell our students a little story about Jesus Christ. Are you listening? Probably some prayer I hear. Okay. Do you want to listen a little story about Jesus Christ? Chandrasekhar?
Sir.
Or Sumi?
Yes, sir. Sir.
Okay. Do you want to listen a little story about Jesus Christ?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So when I was born, this town, Wow, in South Sudan, did not have, it had only one church and one school and one hospital, all housed in one place. And there were Christian nuns, probably from Greece. They were working there honorarily. And one of the Christian nuns, the Greek nuns, she also knew how to become a midwife. She was trained to be a midwife in her own country in Europe. So she came to help my mother deliver me. And then they found that, oh, this is a smiling baby boy. Like the boys you look in this picture, I look like them, more or less, you can say, the smaller version. So, but I was born with a smile. So the nun, Christian nun, said to my wife that I am the gift of Jesus. And she presented a radium statue of Mary, Mother Mary, with the small Jesus in hand. You know, you must be seeing the statue, isn't it, Sumi?
Yes, sir.
So she gifted that small radium statue to my mother and asked her that keep this until you leave besides your bed table, and you will never be afraid in life. And you know, when I went back to the main Sudan, which is Khartoum, with our family, and I was only, I think, a 2.5-year-old child. And on weekends, we used to visit the school, which was also in a church. And my elder brothers and sisters were studying there in a town called Omdurman, which is like the residential colony of Khartoum, the capital of Sudan, North Sudan currently. I started singing prayers in the church without ever being taught by anybody. Can you imagine, Sumi?
Oh.
Praying in a Christian church without being taught and with full prayers, where I was born in a JN Indian family. So this was a miracle that Christian nun created for me and my mother. And I am glad to tell that my mother always kept that Jesus and Mary statue besides her with all the Jain gods and Indian gods. And I used to tease her sometimes as to, Mother, you are Jain, and why do you keep this Jesus and Mary with the Jain gods together in the small mandir that we have at home? And she used to say, because you are the gift of Jesus and Mary. And that's how I was born. And I never knew that I was born to be global on that day in South Sudan. So, my dear students, if you are born in Kerala or anywhere in the country or the world, you can be global citizens and still remain Indian. Do you get what I say? You can be global citizens and you can still remain Indian, and that's what I did. And to cut short the story, I did acquire UK's residential permit and take my family over there, that means my wife and two daughters over there, without any condition. Unconditional permit later on I had. And I surrendered, saying that I better work for India. I can work anywhere in the world, but I better work for India. So I may be on the board of several councils and universities in the developed world, but I still continue to live in India. I travel around the world, but I like to live. I continue to be the citizen of India. I've never accepted any other citizenship, even though I had opportunities, particularly the British. And I thought that we Indians can create miracles. No country in the world except China has 5,000-year-old history. Then why we are shy to create a new history? So I am working everywhere to create a history, a new history, which has the Indian roots. Although I wasn't born in India, but I work and I love to work with Africa, which is very natural, you can say. I love to work with India, which is very natural, you can say. And I love to work with Vietnam and around the world. Whoever invites me, I love to work with them. So when I took early retirement from a business school I founded and was heading for 11 years in Vadodara or Baroda in Gujarat, this Vietnamese university offered me a 5-year appointment unconditionally, no conditions. I can do whatever I want. But I should help them, which I am doing, to improve their quality of education and quality of life. And that's what I am doing. But I am free to do, I have no conditions. And this is how I am able to talk to you. So let's go to the next story now. And let's talk about, there are only 3 things I have mentioned: the regulators, the providers, and the students, right? So the regulators are like this. The picture, you can say that you can't say anything to them. It's like lion and cub relation. You are a cub as an institution or a university, and here is a lion like UGC or AICT roaring, and you can't tell them what is right or wrong. The moment you try and tell them, they will shut you off. They can remove your recognition. They can do anything. They have all the powers. And they were created some 30, 40, 50 years back with some atrocious kind of rules and regulations based on the English or the British rule. Although they were created after independence, there is still the British smell, you can say, that there is one chairman and everybody is after the chairman for a better position. And then there are a few kind of directors or few kind of other next team, which is regulating the whole education of this 1.3 billion country. And what has happened so far in 75 years, that our GER, or the enrollment, gross enrollment ratio, they say, which is about 25%, and sometimes they say 30%. It used to be about 12 or 13% just 10 years back. So in first 65 years of independence, India could enroll only 13% of its population in higher education. And another last 10 years, maybe another 10%. So we hardly reached to 25%. And still 75% of our country is 1.3 billion people. So if you discount all the old people and the young people, there would still be 650 million young people between the age of, you can say, 18 and what, 45? And out of them, 650 million, only about a quarter of them are enrolled. Mind the word enrolled. They have not cleared degrees. They have not obtained. They are enrolled. They might have left even. They might be studying even, like all of you. So only a quarter of our young population, young means up to 45 or even 49, they are enrolled. And if you see this ratio with the developed world, that's 50, 60, 70%. In some countries, 80%. So you realize the kind of shackles that we are in our regulation system, Indian regulation system, our regulators. I can go on and on, but I'll not go on about this because we will talk better. Better I talk about it where there are heads of the universities and the faculties who are there, and then it will matter. So I'm skipping this part and I'm coming to providers like the universities and the business schools. They are trying to do their best, the best, but their relationship with the regulators are like lion and cub, so they can't go beyond a limit. So we do have like IIMs and IITs, but how many of Indians are studying in IITs and IIMs, and how many of them are staying back in India? You know the sad stories that they study at the Indian taxpayers' cost and they migrate abroad, and they don't work for India. They work for multinationals because they pay them very high. So I am coming to now students, and students are the ones who are so wonderful. This picture is, although it looks small, and probably I can enlarge them here, or I can try. You see this picture, which is enlarged. Do you see little enlarged picture?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, this picture is the students from Bangladesh United International University. So you see, Bangladesh is 80% Muslim. So you see Muslim students here more, and you see their dressing and their traditional dressing also. And you see my friend whom I talked about, Christopher, my brother from another mother in the United States, Marywood University. I invited and took them to Bangladesh last year, 2020, I believe. Yes, February. And here is the dean of that university, Dr. Abul Azam, a very good friend of mine. And you see students, they all look like Keralite students. Do you see this? The boys look like Keralite boys with the mustache, some of them. You see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and the girls also look very beautiful like Keralite girls. So you see, students everywhere are same. They are not different. They are same smiling. They are same aspiring. They are same in learning. They have same kind of dreams. The dream to make it big. The dream to do well for parents. The dream to do well for their cities, towns, villages. They have the energy. They want to do the best. But they are under shackles of some universities who are under further shackles of some regulators like UGC and AICT, who are under the regulation of their own country. India, for example. Everywhere there are shekels. They want to tie you to do this only and not something else. So my today is devoted to you. The next 10 or 15 minutes devoted to you to do something which you are not tied to do. I want to open this shackle for you. Okay, I want to open this shackle for you. So let's go to the next slide. You see how India's ancient universities were? Do you see this picture of
Yes, sir.
Nalanda and
Yes.
Takshila?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Right? So you know the Nalanda, both of them were in the former Bihar. Not Bihar is now the former Magad, and the Takshila was another city in the eastern, the northeastern part, rather eastern part of India. And Nalanda still remains in Bihar state in India, but Takshila part went to Pakistan. Okay, so it is somewhere in Pakistan. Can you believe that this Takshila Vishwavidyalaya or university had a Jain temple in those days? And this Nalanda University was based on the ancient Indian wisdom of Upanishads and Vedas. And it is the story that everyone knows now is of Yuan Sung, the Chinese scholar who came to visit this Nalanda. Okay, I am trying to enlarge the picture, who came to visit this Nalanda University, and you see how well built it was. These are the remains even today. And when I passed out my old SSC in 1975, I went to see this place to get inspired. What is it that university looked like in those days? I wasn't into university when I passed my school. I was aspiring to be. But the first university of India I went to see was this. And I traveled with my mother and younger sister by train. And via Kolkata, we went to this place. And I took some vibrations. What is Indian university in those days? India's second. Takshila was the first one, but this was the second one. Probably 1200 BC, before Christ was born. This university was born, Takshila was born, and foreign scholars like Chinese scholars like Yuan Sung came to study here. And you know the story. I am not elaborating, find it out, and you will see that India has a great university system. Unfortunately, after 12th century, the Mughals came and the other foreigners came and they destroyed everything that we had, the millions of books and kind of talpatris where the knowledge was written, all that were destroyed. Never mind, you are the one who are going to create it. So this part I'm skipping, which is talking about Vietnam's education system and their universities. Because I work with them, I thought I'll talk, but there is no much time to do it. So I'm just showing this picture that in the 12th century, Vietnam had its first university. 12th century, ours was 1200 years before Christ was born. So you can say about 3200 years before, the Takshila and Nalanda kind of universities came up. And before 2000 years after that, Vietnam's first university came up. So I visited this university also. It's very big from inside, but this is the entrance gate. And it is worth visiting to understand how they were taught in Vietnam in the learning center, they used to call it. The university, the Global Learning Center. Okay, this is the university which is the most modern university on the right side. And probably your left side, you see the picture of FPT University. Students, do you see this big picture I enlarged?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the university I work with. This is called FPT. This is the actual picture taken. It's not from a model. It looks like this when it is lit at night. Okay.
Okay.
It has every floor which is showing from outside has an alternate room and an alternate tree. So you see, like you can do this in Kerala very easily. You have millions of coconut trees. Do you agree? So you can have these kind of design in Kerala very easily. You see how Vietnam has done this, that every floor, alternate room has a tree which is showing from outside. And in the entrance, there are these big trees.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is Asia's probably the best eco-friendly university campus. They won it probably a few years back. I think 18 or so, 17 or 18. Asia's best university campus, right? And they probably have invested $500 million or little less in this campus. It has 3 lakes. Now, can you build a lake in your university? Chandrasekhar, do you have a lake in Kerala University?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have.
Fantastic. Very big hand. Very big hand. Please give big hand to yourself that you are the best in the country, one of the best in the world. This FPT University has 3 lakes and students. And of course, you find some very beautiful, not only people, but also birds there. And some of them are swimming, ducks and kind of it. And it's so wonderful. Okay. So when the place becomes a resort, a temple, a dream, then the learning comes very fast. And that's where the learning comes very fast. This is a very global university. It has like a relationship with probably 60 universities in the world. And you can say, not truly global, but trying to be global. And that's what my job is, to make them, to help them trying to be global. Okay. So I'm skipping off this also, which is kind of a leadership model for higher education quality and excellence and accreditation building. So we will talk about it with universities program and the business schools program in some other program, Chandrasekhar, that you or I may organize, and we'll talk about it a little later. So there is some award opportunity for faculties, which is announced on the website. So I'm not talking about it, but this is the website, IQSC. Chandrasekhar knows about it. So if there are faculties interested, they can apply on iqsc.org.in, and everything is written in a brochure there. Chandrasekhar knows, and I wish that even Professor Chandrasekhar, you apply so that we can, this IQSC can recognize you, but anyone is welcome to apply. So what is the last message I want to say? And this is not my message. My message is my life is something which Mahatma Gandhi said. So can you, whether you believe in Gandhi or not, it doesn't matter. You may believe in anybody in the world and any god in the world. Well, you are a God's own country, so all the gods probably believe in Kerala, isn't it? So, and I'm sure they must be coming here on a vacation to live. So, whoever you believe, your life should be your message. Which means what? Do what you want to do, which is good for the society, which is first good for yourself. So, discard all things which are time wasters. If the WhatsApp is time wasters, look at my WhatsApp status today. Taking leave from WhatsApp. Okay. So take a leave from WhatsApp for at least 1 hour to begin with. Don't look at it. Don't look at all the messages that you get. Don't look at all the crap. That's number 1. Help yourself find your quality time. Then number 2, focus on what you are doing current. If you are doing MBA, please focus on MBA. If you are doing MBA in tourism, please focus on tourism, not only in Kerala, around the world. The world is opening, and that's today's news, that the airlines are opening, the destinations are opening, Europe is opening, US is opening, UK is opening, everyone is opening. Open up your mind and see what others are doing, and then bring those best practices to your city, your village, your country, your institution. Focus on today. Look at the world, what the world is doing today, then focus on today. Then number 3, follow your passion. And I wanted to tell another story, but I think time is running up. So I will not tell that story. Maybe some other time I will say, but I would say that build up your future by building up on your passion. So if your passion is coconut, and don't laugh at it, you can make a lot of money out of coconut and coconut products. And think it over. And then you will realize that coconut is a wonder tree, and everything that the coconut tree produces can have a global market, not local, global market, I'm saying. Kerala can earn billions out of coconut and coconut products. It must be doing it in some way, small way, but it is still a large way to go. Kerala can make billions out of tourism. It is still an Indian destination. It needs to be a world destination for tourism. It can be another Switzerland. It can be another Rome. It can be another, I don't know, another Slovenia, another beautiful country, another Poland. It can be just another Kerala, God's own country. And if you can invite all the gods, you can invite all the people of the world to visit you. Think over and do something, build your passion around Kerala. Use the local resources, use your brilliant mind, use your language, use your intellectual, and then you can build, find out, look around, be within, and look at the world, and then you can do it. Thank you very much. I want to end after 1 hour of this session.